find where we are so we can get going. My
Okay.
apologies, because every single time I set this thing up, it'll act up again on me. I think
Well, this is the best way to find out.
that's right. Give it a trial. Give it a trial.
That's right.
Is this it right here?
Should be, yes.
Yes, that's it.
You also used terrible capitalization.
Horrible. Horrible.
We can let that slide.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. Scared to move it again. So I'm live.
That's right.
Okay. Are you? Can you hear me now?
Should be, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it. No, I'm gonna
Also
turn it
used-
off.
You're still on, by the way. I just turned the
I'm gonna turn the mute off. Go ahead and turn it back on. There you go. Okay, Miss Kim, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, we're going to get started. Then I appreciate you coming on. We are on the air live now, so we can get started. To everyone that was chiming in, I apologize. We were going back and forth for a minute. And also, I apologize if there are any misspelled words because I was just trying to get it done and get it done efficiently. So thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope that you will share this information. We're here today with Miss Kim R. Jackson. She has a story to tell. You and I, Miss Kim, we talked on an issue about parents, children with attention deficit disorder, probably about 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Yes, about 10 years ago. And could you reflect a little bit on that so people can get to know your son before we go any further?
Kai was probably 2 when he was diagnosed with bipolar,
Okay.
and it was diagnosed from his father's side of the family, and he had a lot of issues at 2. He was kind of very aggressive. I had to take him to the doctor because it was all new to me. I've never experienced anything like that.
Right.
So I first took him to get treated, and they put him on some medication, and I wasn't even thinking clear about it. After he completed the medicine, I was like, well, this will all go away. It didn't go away.
Mm-hmm.
It got worse. So I had to educate myself in order to help him.
Okay.
So I signed up for groups like Parent Plan. It was some groups that I signed up with at the time that they did free training and educated you on things to help your children, because it was like a catch-22. You know, some people don't like medication. Some
Right.
people think that the system is trying to put the kids on the medication,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. That's not true. Mental health is very serious,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been pushed under the rug. Nobody wants to address it.
Right.
So if you're your child, you got to help your child. So
Right. That's right.
sometimes you gotta try to find a medication that's going to work for your child, because you got to look at it like this: your child is going through things in his head that he can't deal with.
Right.
Bipolar could mean being depressed or me being aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the time, I saw the side where he was aggressive, and it was more than I can handle. So I had to get him some help.
Right.
So, but we got it worked out. I got a medication from one of the doctors that I worked with at the time. She said that her brothers took it, and it was Seroquel, and it balanced him out.
Okay.
Later on, as he got older, it balanced him completely out. It really worked really good for him.
And in the beginning
So,
of him taking the medication, how was it then? It's a trial and error
um,
thing?
trial and error. Some made him gain weight. Uh, some made the situation worse.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't help. So again, like I said, we had to go back to, I had to find something that was going to work for him.
Right.
And I look at a lot of people had contacted me that was going through the same thing, and they would go out to the schools signing the paper, but don't understand why they signing the paper,
Right.
because I had to do an IEP for him, and I didn't. And the schools they're not really structured to help the children like they should, because he needed to be in a smaller setting at the time,
Okay.
and they didn't really have that. They had to put him with other kids that didn't fit the criteria he had.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that was a struggle.
Okay.
Then I had to get a behavioral IEP in plan because he had some behavioral issues dealing with his problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I really, I had to go toe to toe with the school
Mm-hmm.
because they was trying to railroad him,
Right.
and
Right.
they wanted to label him, and I was not. No, y'all are here to help him,
Right.
not do this.
Right.
So I was prepared to stop working so that I could help him because he was going through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But thank God we got it worked out.
Okay.
I had to, give the district, something that they didn't understand. They just it's you thinking these teachers and schools are out to help. But if you don't go out there and be involved, it's not going to work out like you planned it to work
Right.
out.
Right. Now let's fast forward some. Did he graduate? Kai get to graduate?
Yes, he did. He took a full load of classes every year in high school.
Okay.
He every year, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, he had a full load of classes and he passed them all. He had over the amount of credit.
Okay. So his graduation was in what year?
He graduated June of 2016.
2016. So after 2016, we're going to fast forward again to where he had moved out on his own. Was he living with a friend or?
He moved out and was staying with a family member, but they moved out, and he ended up living by himself.
Okay.
At 20.
Okay.
Paying his bills.
Okay.
And going to school.
Okay. So he was in college.
He was in Central Carolina.
Central Carolina. Okay. Now, he's at what age now?
He was at the age of 20.
At the age of 20. Now, I do not want to take you down any path that is a little too difficult for you to handle right now.
It's not difficult.
Okay.
It needs to be talked about.
Okay. And so
a lot of people telling me they can't get in to the room.
Wow. Tell them I apologize about that. Tell them we're in a technical difficulty, but it will be recorded to where they can get into it. But because I think I made it a private room because I don't know what I'm doing at this point. But I can't go back out and change it. But it will. They can watch it later. Tell them that they can watch it later. Yes. And they can also, if you can share my Facebook address, they can go to my page. They can hear you, but they can't see you. They see me, but they can't see you, but they'll hear you talking.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me do that.
Okay.
Do that.
And let me know when you're ready to start because I want to get to the point of the days leading up to the event and the actual event, what occurred. And what happened afterwards. Now, this again, you go ahead and you don't have to rush with that. But this is part one. Myself and my associate Dale Castro Powell. We, of course, I didn't get to invite you out to the Manning Lives Matter event, but we have gotten a proclamation that South Carolina has a day of recognition for murder victims in the state of South Carolina. So we want to include everyone possible. Again, the person whose life was taken, we're not trying to justify their character or anything like that. What we're saying is that they had a mother, they have parents, they have sisters, brothers, and people who are grieving for their loss. Because a lot of times people tend to try to pull up a person's character and justify why they aren't here anymore. We're not talking about that part. We're talking about the fact that, Ms. Kim, you're still here, family members are still here and still grieving over the death and perhaps the injustice that came along with the death and the court proceedings that came after that. So that's where we are. We're not trying to justify anyone's anything. We're trying to talk with grieving family members of murdered victims. Are we ready?
Exactly. I'm ready.
Okay. I'm ready for you to start talking the leading up to the day of what occurred with your son. And we want to just call him Kai or Kaishan or how do you?
whatever you Kai is fine if you
Kai is
like to do
fine.
Kai.
Okay,
That's
okay,
fine.
that's fine.
And
And Kai.
he changed his name because he did not like it,
Okay.
but he's always going to be my Kai.
Okay, right. Okay. Okay. Well, let's go to the day of the event. What occurred, what led up to it, and your reaction to it all.
Okay, February the 19th, and that was a Monday because it was a holiday.
Okay.
I got a phone call around 4 o'clock that morning. It was an unknown number, and I said, unknown number, so it just made me automatically think something had happened.
Right.
So I answered, and it was the police, and they asked me my location because they needed to come and talk to me. They said something had happened to my son.
Okay.
And I said, well, what happened? And they said, well, we need to come talk to you. And I gave them my address, and then I woke my daughter up, and I said, something has happened to Kai. And she got up and she thought we had to leave. So she was waking up my grandson. I said, no, they come in here. So I opened the door, just, pacing back and forth. I was like, what is going on? So the police officer, city officer, blue and white car pulled up. He got out, and I said, sir, what's going on? What happened to my son? He said, did anybody else call you? And I said, no, sir. It's just an officer called me and said that they needed to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing, a white truck pulls up, and Brian, assistant coroner, he gets out, and I knew who he was. Okay. And I said, please don't come in here and tell me that my son is dead.
Mm.
And he came in, him and the officer came in, and I had to identify my son off of a piece of paper.
Mm.
I didn't even know, I said, why can't I see my son? They said, we don't let you see him like that anymore. We have to send him off. They had already sent him to do an autopsy.
Okay.
So they said that the police he said the detective should be coming out and, to talk to you about what's going on.
Okay.
So next, the detective came out. Some of my family members were here and good people that I knew. And he comes in, and he was very arrogant.
Mm.
He came in, and he said, the house that my son was at was all shot up. He said, he lied and said my son was staying there.
Mm-hmm.
He said, well, he lived there. And I said, my son didn't live there. And, my cousin, well, a friend of mine was like, Kim, when did Kai move? I said, I don't know nothing about Kai moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I called my cousin that lived out in the same complex as he did, in Little Arms.
Okay.
She was like, she said, no, she said, I just saw Kai at the mailbox. She said, no, Kai, she checked the property man. She said, no, Kai has not moved.
Okay.
So he proceeded to say that he didn't really have anything else, and he would I said, well, do you have a business card? No, I didn't bring in, I don't have any cards for me.
Wow.
So a video was sent to me where this gentleman, same person that shot and killed him, was chasing him with a rifle. So I called him and I said, can I send you this video? My phone don't take videos.
Wow. So somebody videotaped in the complex.
Snap. No, it was a snapshot of my son at the location where he got killed.
Okay.
Where the young man with the rifle was chasing him.
Okay.
With that same rifle that he killed him with. Somebody sent me a snap showing me how he was playing with that rifle.
Okay.
So he said his phone could not take it. So my daughter emailed it to him. He never called back and said he got it. He didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm. So
let me tell you something. That first night, I really thought I was losing my mind because I could not sleep. I'm telling you, it's just like me and my daughter, we slept together that night. We cried all night long.
Mm.
Morning came, we got up and got ourselves together because I needed to get to the police department because at this point I was very furious with that officer and how he came to us and like talked to us like we were nobody.
Right. Right.
So we my daughter dropped my grandson off, and then we got to the police department, and they took us back. And I told the detective, the head detective said, and I laid it out for her. I said, I'm very hot as to how he came out. He did not have a business card, and he acted like it was a joke.
Right.
And he didn't have any. He didn't have any. He didn't. He acted like he didn't care. It was just another young black man dead.
Right.
And they had the victims advocate there. She came here too, but she was there too, and I was real upset. And she said, "We're gonna lay the case out, and we're gonna, make sure you involved with all of the case,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna let you hit a 911 call, and we're gonna let you see the body cam."
Wow.
And I told her, I'm very disappointed because I don't want that detective back. I don't want him working my son's case.
Right.
I do not want him working it. Because see, it comes to find out, Sumter is a small town. He was friends with the young man that killed my son. He was friends with his mama.
Wow.
She got there, and he was trying to smooth it over.
Wow.
So that, it could look good for her son.
Right.
But see, I was going to get to the bottom of that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to tell me one thing and I don't know what happened to my child.
Right.
So then they told me that it would be a bond hearing, and it was supposed to be that Tuesday. First they said it was going to be that morning, but then it was changed to that afternoon at 2:00.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bondsman, my head all over the place. I didn't think because it's important to know who the judge is,
right,
as well.
Right.
So we got to the bond hearing at 2:00. We was waiting and stuff, and I'm gonna tell you, I told the officer off. I read him for everything he was. I told him about himself standing right there and what he tried to do,
mm-hmm.
and I told him.
Mm-hmm.
So when we got before the judge, which was, he shouldn't have been there, Larry Blanding,
mm-hmm.
he was the judge. Then this young man who did it, they got an attorney that was frat brothers with the judge.
Wow.
So he was like, well, he was never in any trouble, but he committed a crime.
Wow. Wow.
What are you upholding the law, or what are you doing?
Right.
He may never have committed a crime, but he did then, because
right.
he was 19. Do you know right from wrong?
Right.
Do you know that playing with a loaded rifle, you can hurt somebody? Because the word was he would click that rifle every day. But this is the thing about it. The rifle belonged to the other young man at the house they were at.
Mm-hmm.
My son would go over there and spend the night with him sometime, but he never let him in his apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So he
You're freezing up on me a little bit. Go ahead.
Who would do that?
Repeat what you just said because the camera froze.
Okay. He would shoot the rifle outside the door.
Wow.
With live ammunition.
Right.
Who would play with a loaded rifle and point it at somebody and chase and play with somebody like that?
Wow.
Who would do that?
Wow.
So, like I said, we went into the barn here, me and my daughter. We went inside, and we told how we felt about it, and he said, well, he's never committed any crimes, so he gave him a bond.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after he got a bond, his sisters thought it was funny. They made a funny video about he getting out.
Really?
Yeah, they made a funny video. Oh, he's out. But this is the thing. Nobody never came to me and said, I don't, what happened, because if my son did that, he would have stand for it.
Right.
He would have had to go to these people and do what was right.
You would make sure he did that. Right.
That's right. You're a grown man.
That's
and
right.
You committed a crime because you knew right from wrong.
Right. Understood.
But, I didn't get that. So, at the day, I was planning, had to plan the funeral, and we had his visitation that Sunday, because the funeral was going to be that Monday. It was the following week. It was going to be that Monday,
Mm-hmm.
and that was February the 26th. So the 25th, that Sunday, we had the visitation,
Okay.
and I just had a feeling that people were going to want to come to be nosy.
Right. Of course.
So they opened it up like 12:30, and I think I kept it open to 3 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So they called the funeral home and asked, could they come see the body?
They who?
His mother called
Okay.
and asked. His mother
Okay.
called and asked because he needs to see the body because he needs closure.
Okay.
So I didn't let whoever was there when I was there. They got to see him. If they wasn't there when I was there, I didn't let nobody else come in. So when I left, we all left. My uncle was still at the funeral home because he would work with them.
Mm-hmm.
He said that so many cars came in there
Mm-hmm.
trying to see
Mm-hmm.
the body,
Mm-hmm.
but I was not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So the day of the funeral, I asked the funeral director, Shula King, Frank Williams Jr.'s son. He's nicknamed. He's the comedian. He did my son's body.
Okay, I know
And he
Shula.
did
Yes.
a
Okay.
job.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
drove us, and I said, "Did you make sure that the casket is closed? Because I don't want nobody viewing him.
Mhm.
Because I don't want nobody viewing him till we till the funeral is over and they get a quick look at him."
Mhm.
And he had it open, and then he said, "No, it's supposed to be closed." So after the funeral, I was approached at the rest by my grandson's godmother, and she was really upset. But she didn't tell me why she was upset till a few days later.
Mhm.
This young man that killed my son, him and his mother brought him to the funeral.
Wow. Wow.
And she literally had to push them out of the funeral because she said, "My son needs closure." What do you mean your son needs closure? You felt like your son didn't do anything wrong. Why would he need closure?
Hmm.
He didn't. You felt like he didn't do anything. You didn't approach me as mother to mother and say anything. You never said anything. So you just felt like your son didn't do anything wrong.
Hmm.
So I'm telling you, people got to always remember in this type of situation, just because somebody did something wrong, that doesn't mean that they're going to prosecute the person.
Right.
It's so sad that we have to, being in the black community, you have to stay on these people
Right.
who's supposed to prosecute these cases
Mhm.
because they're not going to do their job.
Mhm.
So I, first of all, to get power of attorney over my son, to take care of his business. He was 20, so I had to have power of attorney to talk to anyone about, like, if I had to go to the bank or any place,
Right.
anything dealing with his business, like closing stuff out, I had to have power of attorney to do that.
Mhm.
So this is so funny. I had to go and go for the judge to get this done. I had to take a paper to my son's father. And no offense, he never bought him a hair comb. He didn't even sign his birth certificate. But
Wow.
I got to get him to sign a paper so I can have PO to take care of my son's business.
Wow.
So I had to do that, go back, so I could get the paperwork, to take care of his business and to talk to people.
And all of this took how long? Because you're grieving at this time too, and you're having to go through all of this. What length of time did all of that take?
It took me like probably about a couple of weeks to get that straight.
Okay.
It was I had to go back and get him to sign another paper.
Wow.
So it was just a runaround.
Right.
Yeah, it was kind of, it really didn't make sense when I'm his mother. I took care of him,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody knew that, anybody could vouch for that.
Mm-hmm.
But then after I got that done, I started working on the case.
Mm-hmm.
Cause see, I called up there and a good friend of mine was, just helped me out, and I called up there to see what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like, well, it might take a year or so before we can do it. And I said, what do you mean? Why would it take a year when you have a signed confession?
Right.
Why would it take a year?
So
You have
he
a signed
signed.
confession?
He said he did it.
Yeah, I have the 911 call
Mm.
that I listened. Let me go back a little bit. When we went, I had to meet with the police department again
Mm-hmm.
because they didn't give us any information. I even tried to get in touch with the police chief. He
Mm-hmm.
was too busy because they were opening their new police department, so he didn't have time for me. So it was like 4 weeks later
Wow.
before I spoke with him.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you this: my son's autopsy report, it had on the top of it, 20-year-old male playing with rifle.
Really?
My son didn't have anything to do with that rifle. So I said, who? I said, well, why is this information here on my son's autopsy report? And he didn't have anything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not important. I said, that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Mm-hmm.
important.
Mm-hmm.
So he set it up for me the next day to talk to the detectives.
Mm-hmm.
So it was me, my daughter, and another family member.
Mm-hmm.
And the detective started talking, and she went as far as to say, well, if y'all not going to listen to me, we don't have anything to talk about. So I let her know. I said, what do you mean? I'm not going to think like you thinking. You're not going
Right.
to tell me how to think.
Right.
You're not going to tell me how to feel.
Right.
I don't have to listen to you. You telling me what you want me to hear because it's convenient for you. But
Right.
I'm not going to listen to that.
Wow.
So
That's
yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So let me put this out. Me and my son had a disagreement. He was mad, but teeth and tongue fall out, but we would have get back together.
Right. Right.
I'm still his mother,
Right.
still loved him, do anything for him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was told during the interview, you hadn't talked to him in such and such time. I said, well, let me get you straight.
Hmm.
I'm not no fly by mother. I
Right.
took good care of him.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter chimed in and said, well, have you ever had an argument with your parent or something like that? Me and my mama get into it sometime and what?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know nothing about us.
Mm-hmm.
You need to check before you make accusation. And I said, I'm looking you in the eye because if I didn't take care of my son, I couldn't face you. I wouldn't be able to look at you.
Right.
You don't know anything about us. That's just hearsay when you listening to some people. Go do your investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about them stealing my son's things, and y'all said y'all couldn't get them back. Let's talk about that.
That happened. That happened. They
you
took
told
things from
me-
his apartment?
Yeah, his things that he left over to
Over
the
the
house.
house. Okay.
He had a game system that he played, and he had like $1,000 worth of games.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about it, but it didn't belong to them.
Right. Understood. Understood.
So you didn't make them. Y'all didn't find the need to make them drop that stuff off to the police department. That wasn't important to y'all.
Right.
So during that interview, you're gonna tell me that they were friends and they took a lot of pictures together. I don't care if they took 1,000,000 pictures together.
Mm-hmm.
We need to find out what happened that night.
Right.
See, to me, you wanted to just say, well, they were his friends,
mm-hmm.
and that was an accident.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not going to say that.
So take me
you can't do that.
Take me to when did you have to view the video?
First, I did the 911 call. Then I viewed the body cam, and I'm gonna tell you that body cam really hurt me.
Mm-hmm.
He said on the body cam, he said, "Am I gonna die? I don't want to die."
Mm-hmm.
And the ambulance workers came in, and they were very rude. What's your date of birth? What's your name? What's your date? My son got a rifle shot in his chest,
mm-hmm.
and like they didn't even want to lift him to put him on the stretcher. So then they put him in the helicopter. I heard the helicopter that night in the Kmart parking lot.
Really? But you didn't know what it was for.
I didn't know it was my child. They turned around and brought it back, talking about he was coding. And you can't code in there. But my cousin's a nurse. She said all they had to do is intubate him.
Mm-hmm.
They turned around and sent him to Toomey Hospital. Toomey Hospital does not have a trauma center. Nobody called me, and my child died up there.
Wow. Wow.
What do you mean? My name is on his records and everything. Nobody called. You waiting on people. My
Mm-hmm.
child died up there. I didn't have a clue my child died up there.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So I'm just, that really blew me, to not know.
Mm-hmm. So
But
I'm sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. After finding out about his death and you're trying to get the legality straight and getting an attorney and everything else, how did that turn out for you, for the
This,
family?
let me tell you about South Carolina law. I didn't care about no money, but I wanted to hold somebody's feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
You can't sue nobody who doesn't have anything. You can't put a judgment on them at all.
Mm-hmm.
Can't do anything. That's just how bad the law is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that avenue was
Was
closed because I
closed.
did check into that, and
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't about any money. It was just the right thing to do, to hold somebody's feet to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
You did a crime,
Mm-hmm.
so and your feet should be held to the fire.
Mm-hmm.
And again, during that interview, I stated again, where did this information come about the autopsy about 20-year-old male? And this detective, she's over the detective. She goes said the doctor put it on there. I said, can you listen to yourself? A doctor only puts information that has been given to him as he does his dictation.
Mm-hmm.
After he did that autopsy report, he dictated what somebody gave him that came from that same detective.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it got started.
Mm-hmm.
That was an issue.
Right. Right.
And well, they changed the story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I said, well, where's the body cam? You're gonna have to talk to Mr. Finney about seeing the body cam. I said, well, y'all said y'all was gonna lay out the case. Y'all told me y'all was gonna lay out the case to me. And I said, y'all have not done anything. It's just convenient. I told them just like this, and I
Mm-hmm.
meant, I said, if I was white,
Mm-hmm.
y'all would have did something. If I was a white person, y'all
Mm-hmm.
would have got something done.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt that in my heart because they felt comfortable telling me that my son was friends with those boys and they did a lot of things together. That doesn't mean anything.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what his thoughts were. He could change. It could have been something he didn't like about my son. It could have been something he been jealous about my son.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're somebody's friend, you're not gonna play with a loaded rifle with them.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just
So
I don't believe that.
how long did it take for the case to get to trial after all of that?
I had that case in court August.
You
That
understand that
August,
I can't legally agree or disagree with what you're saying, but I'm listening.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
You just telling my story.
Right. Okay.
August was like August the 23rd
Mm-hmm.
of 18.
Mm-hmm.
It happened February 18th and he died over that Monday the 19th and rolled into where he died.
Okay.
But I had that case in court August the 22nd. I think it was 22nd or 23rd. Me and my daughter, we met with the prosecutor, and like I said, he gave us the 911 calling.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to that. That was fake.
Mm-hmm.
I shot my brother. My son is no relation to you.
Mm-hmm.
How did you shoot your brother?
Mm-hmm.
So then when we saw the body cam, that did it for me. Like I said, the young man that the rifle belonged to and the house that his grandma, he was staying in the house his grandmama left him. It was told to me that he was in the room playing a game. When he heard the shot, he ran out. And when it hit my son, it knocked him down to the floor and he was trying to get up.
Mm-hmm.
And he was applying pressure to the wound till the 911 crew got out and everything.
Your son was applying pressure, or the other.
Well, the gentleman that the house, it was his grandmama's house.
Gotcha.
That he was living in.
Was applying the pressure. I've seen someone shot with a shotgun before, so I know, unfortunately, the graphic details of that. And
the caliber was they said that caliber was, if it was a little bigger, he might would have lived. But that's the kind where it moves around,
mm-hmm.
and it destroys.
Mm-hmm. Your organs. Yeah. Yes.
So he was
Mm.
trying to apply pressure to the wound till they got the ambulance there and stuff
So he
like
stayed
that.
with your son. He stayed with him. He stayed with him.
Yeah, it was his house.
Right.
Yeah, they were both there when the police came. They handcuffed the gentleman that shot my son at the door.
Okay.
They handcuffed him at the door.
Okay.
And like I said, the other one, he was trying to apply pressure, but they both had him down to the police department and reading the police report. The one that the rifle and the house they were at, he did not want to answer any questions.
Mm.
So what do you
That's
have to hide?
that's that
It was your
street code.
rifle.
That's that
You're
thing.
guilty too.
Mm.
You let him play with it with live ammunition in it, so you're guilty too. No,
So we
it was
get
your rifle.
we get to court. We're in the courtroom, and did it go to court? Did the case go to court?
Yeah, we went to court,
I mean,
and
was it court, or was it, I don't know the different kinds of court, but was it the
um, it was court
mm-hmm,
because they just went ahead and did the case that day.
mm-hmm,
Well, I was able to speak first,
mm-hmm,
and I addressed the judge, and I didn't, I told the judge what happened, and I explained to him, that was my son, and I spoke about, he was doing good for himself, and he had a future,
mm-hmm,
and he's gone. I got to visit him at the gravesite,
mm-hmm.
and I told them that I don't know this. My family don't know them. And I don't know him, and you know this is just unjust. I even stated, I said the charge should have been manslaughter, because if you don't right from wrong, you don't point a loaded rifle at anybody.
So what charge did they introduce to the court? What was the charge?
They didn't even see. This is with the police, and they know they did wrong. They didn't even give him a gun charge. They only gave him involuntary manslaughter. They said to me that was stand more. I said no, he should have a gun charge too. But they didn't put a gun charge.
An involuntary manslaughter carries how many years? Do you know? If
5.
convicted, 5 years.
Yeah. And
Wow.
and then you don't serve. If you do good,
You do a
you
percentage
can
of that,
get out.
right?
Yeah, you can get out. So we had to go to one. He was trying to get out, so we had to. They sent me a paper. You're not going to the I'm trying to think of what it is. Early bond. He was trying to get out on probation, so we had to go to the probation board. And I spoke with them, and I told them I'm very disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
I said I'm starting out with the time, and I told him, I said this is not. He didn't even get enough time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, now we're ready to let him back out into society. And I said, my child's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's in his internal rest. He's not coming back here.
And the time they gave was what? 5 years? They gave 5
years. 5 years, and then he could do half of that,
mm-hmm.
or not even half.
Mm-hmm.
And he could come out and get probation.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So that's just very unjust.
Mm.
To take someone's life, and you don't think you did anything wrong, and you're able to go back in society like you got a clean record. Because again, if it was my child,
mm-hmm.
you're gonna stand. You're gonna address these people. You're gonna go pay out money.
You would see to that, right? You would hold him responsible, right?
Hold him responsible.
Right. As I believe we all should. I would do it with mine as well, and they know that. If you did it, you're gonna have to face the reality of what you did. You got to own up to that. I agree.
It was said in the court by his mother that after killing my son, that made him grow up.
I can't comment on that either way, but wow, I'll just leave that there. Now, after the situation, and it's been since 2018.
Yeah.
So he's probably out then.
He got out February the 28th of this year.
Okay. Where are you mentally now with everything that's going on? As much as you can say. I can't fathom. I'm not going to act like I know.
people's, I don't care what people think because they don't know, they don't wear my shoes.
That's right.
I know he's okay because I thank God for sending the angels because the way he looked, you would have never thought he went through a lot what he went through that night because he just looked like he was resting.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna tell you something that was, and it still is, very hard to deal with because it's just certain times I can just hear my son just speaking in my head, just talking, and I have not even gone through his things. I can't do it.
Really?
I just every time I try to go through his things, I just find myself in a bad state, and I just I know I got to do it. I know I got to get a headstone, and I know when I get this headstone, it's going to be official. Yeah, he's gone. But I mean, people don't. It's a hard pill to swallow, and don't say to me he's in a better place.
Right.
My son was in God's care here.
Right. Right.
Was wrongfully taken away from him.
Right.
If he was sick, I could say that. He was not sick. He was a young man. He turned 20 in the cemetery. I can't. I had to take flowers out to the cemetery, and it just take. I have to grasp this. For at once, I have to really take something to help me sleep, and because if I don't sleep, I think about it,
right,
and it really just upsets me because it's my child, and some things yeah, I got to get on, but I'm trying to find peace. I'm trying to get myself at a place where I can deal with that, but this is really traumatic for me because that's my child.
Right. That's right. And that's right.
And I can't share. I can't see his growth. I can't share anything with him anymore.
Right.
I can't see and what he's going to do in life now because he's gone. I don't have that chance to do that. And to I'll never get yeah, I'll probably see him on the other side, but what about this side here? I wanted him here.
Right, to see the growth, to see the success, to see the failures, everything. Right,
Yeah, he
everything.
Should throw dirt on my face, not me put dirt on him. He should
Now,
throw dirt on my face.
The society that the era that we're in now, guns and murder are glamorized even more so now. How does that make you? How does that sit with you? And what do you think we can do at this point? Because I knew when your son was you and I talked, so I knew when he was murdered. I say murdered. So I knew when he was murdered. I knew when his life was taken away, and that's been 2016. I almost grew up with him because of the vivid way you told his story. So it's a part of my heart with you and with the situation. You understand? So how do you feel now at this point with the level of violence where it seems like it's going to escalate more before it de-escalates, and people are committing crimes and getting such low sentences, and some are even let out to commit a crime again?
Yeah, that's right.
So
I look at it like this, and I'm in the process right now of getting statistics because that's very important.
Right, numbers.
And I look at certain crimes, and if it's black on black, nobody cares. It can sit. The file can sit on the cabinet. Nobody cares, and it sits till the person that committed the crime is going to be time served. And you're not going to get much more time.
Right. So they just literally like sitting in a holding cell until time is served, and then they let them out. Is what you're saying?
That's what I'm seeing. Some have done that, or they go and serve some time, but it's not much time because they've counted all the time that they've sat in jail to get to the trial.
Right.
So it's really like they didn't serve any time. And I had a good friend that I grew up with that died, and his son was killed in 2014. And he was killed by his girlfriend, and she was a white young woman. She didn't get a charge.
Wow.
She didn't get a charge. She walked away freely.
People are very timid, very afraid to speak about the race issue, and I don't like that because I don't like people to fool themselves that we're equal. We're not. It's not an equal thing, not at all. It can be
Not.
if we
You're not.
fight the system and put people in place who will make sure that it is. But in thinking that it is and not wanting to face that issue, see, this can happen to anybody, anytime.
Anybody.
Do you
That's right.
understand what I'm saying? And until it happens to you, that's
You
where,
don't know.
that's right. You don't know. But why would you wait until it happened to you? Let's do something about it now.
No.
You understand what I'm
And
saying?
I have to do something. That's I have to do something because it's got to help the next person.
That's right. That's the whole
I,
purpose.
have, I got to help the next person
Hmm.
because I believe in if you do something wrong, I grew up. You gotta own up to it, and you gotta do what you if you gotta serve time, you gotta serve time, but you
Hmm.
gotta own up to it
Hmm.
if you do something wrong.
Hmm.
And that's why I like Leon Lotz.
Hmm.
I saw a case that same
I
similar
like him too. I'm
yeah,
gonna put that out there, but go ahead.
I like Leon Lotz. He's
Yeah.
about the business
Yeah.
because it was a young man, same age, that shot this playing with a gun,
Hmm.
shot this girl. Leon Lotz, manslaughter.
Hmm.
You knew right from wrong.
Right.
He didn't play around with that.
Hmm.
He don't care who's this, who's that.
Hmm.
He's for the right thing. You
Right.
can't do that. You have to make people stand and own up to things.
Hmm.
And I mean, the way you address people.
Hmm.
Like I said, you don't know who I know.
Hmm.
But like I said, the detective, he came here to my own home like we
Hmm.
were nobody. He talked to us.
That part I
We were
really
nobody.
understand because my wife was railroaded in a system here where people knew people and people were a part of the same clique, the part of the same, and she was blamed. It's not murder, but she was put in a position where she was made
Mm-hmm.
guilty of something she didn't do, and she couldn't
Yeah.
even fight it in the court. She lost in the court. So to think about what you're going through with your son and with the situation and not having justice, that's all we're saying. Do it,
Right.
do it the right way. That's all we're
That's
saying.
right.
We don't want
That's
any
all I'm saying.
favoritism. We don't want any of that. Just do it the right way. And people are
Yep.
getting put in power who have already agreed to do it the way whoever put them in power says to do it.
That's right.
They'll
And
never
they
be
have
able to
not
do it
done
the
their
right
job.
way.
They
Right,
have not.
right,
They
right,
have not.
right,
They address certain issues that they think are more important.
right,
If they think you feel like you are somebody important, then they're going to address you.
right.
I was asked to attend. This was, I think it was last year. I was asked to attend this day at this gentleman named David Witherspoon. He had a program for mothers who lost their son.
Mm-hmm.
And people spoke, and you know what? It was a lot of mothers in that room with different loss.
Mm-hmm.
But don't get up and reflect on one person.
Right.
You got to address everybody.
That's right.
Because everybody has a story in that room.
That's right. That's right.
Don't address just one person.
Right.
Everybody has a story
Everybody.
in that room.
Agreed. Agreed.
So don't call out one situation
Mhm.
if you can't into all the other situations.
That's right. That's right. We got all, God willing, as long as we are alive, we have time to address each situation, and
Yes.
that's where I would like to go with you with addressing, because people are grieving in silence. People
Yeah.
aren't able, they don't have that outlet. Because I wanted to ask you, how long did the victim's advocate stay in touch with you after?
Hey, probably after I buried my son, I didn't even hear from those people. They
Right.
didn't even call me anymore. They didn't
Right.
check on me or nothing.
That's as I expected.
I was nobody.
Hmm.
And you said you offer service, and you're supposed to care about somebody and what's going on.
Hmm. Hmm.
Did not.
Wow.
And see, you know what? The day of my son's funeral, the police officer, the detective called me because I think I called her the day before about something.
Hmm.
And and it didn't dawn on me because I had so much on my mind. You broke your bond by
That's right.
coming in to my family.
Hmm.
You got to address that either, because you should have been locked up
Hmm.
for your bond.
Mm.
Because if you thought I was going to allow you to see my child,
Mm.
did you come up to me and ask me? Did you come up to me and say, "Well, I would like to apologize"?
Right.
That might have made kind of
Every
difference.
every bit of difference in the world that may have made.
If your mother addressed me and said, "Well, I don't have much, but I want to do this."
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh, but you think you're gonna see my son's body? It
Mhm.
doesn't work like that. You know, and I'm not trying. I didn't. That wasn't to be mean and ugly. But
Right.
see, I don't wish any. You know, he got to deal with himself because
Mm-hmm.
every time he closes his eyes, he gonna see that gunfight where he shot my son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish nothing bad on him, but
Mm-hmm.
until you do the right thing,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's gonna go right for you in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna own one day. You're gonna own up to that.
That's God's law.
Might
That's
not be
God's
here to
law.
see it,
Right.
but one day you're gonna own up to that.
That's God's law. That's what we all have to. We can all have to
Yeah,
face up to what we do,
right.
and that's the warning I want to give to the young because they think because the courts didn't catch them that they're free. You're
Free.
never
Yeah,
free. I mean, those
never.
things could really go on to your children and your children's
Yeah,
children. The crimes,
that's
the
right.
sins you commit. So
That's right.
where are we going from this point after everything has happened? It's 2020. That's 18. 2 more years. What are you trying to build in your son's name?
I got some friends of mine that wanted to help work on a scholarship,
Okay,
and
that's good.
I really want to get myself out there in the community and get with some other women
Hmm.
and make a difference. We need to be in Columbia at the State House trying to get some law for this.
That's right.
We Something needs to be done because it's not right to, you know, you have to go through a lot of pain, and at the end of the day, like I said, it just seemed like nobody did not care. Like
Right.
my son, they made me feel like his life did not matter.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Understood.
that's
And
been
I know a lot of people that
I,
have lost family members that feel the way you feel.
yeah,
I
that's
think that
right.
if everyone can get together and this stuff we have to stop talking about and start trying to figure
And
out
be
how to
about it.
do it.
That's
You
right.
understand what I'm
Do
saying?
something
We
about
got
it.
to find the mayors, the senators, the politicians who are
Mhm.
willing to do the right thing and make sure people vote for them. Not
Well, they
just
know how to. Yeah, they come out when they want. They're ready for you to get a vote.
mhm.
You see them all.
Mhm.
But if you go, hey, you go addressing situations,
Mhm.
nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah, we got to
They
figure
don't
out
want
a way
to
to
talk.
hold them accountable, though. There has
Yeah,
to be a way, and it's tedious work, and that's the part. It's
yeah,
a very it's long. It's a long process, but someone
it
has
is.
to start it. Someone has to start it, and get it going.
I met this lady. She works. She's a real good. She works in Columbia at the State House and stuff. She works on a lot of things.
Hmm.
And her name is Miss Laura Hudson. And I was given her name by a good doctor friend of mine. And she was like, you know, I talked to her and she told me she listened to me and she
Hmm.
said that's manslaughter.
Hmm.
She said, what is your solicitor thinking about? That's
Hmm.
manslaughter.
Hmm.
And she went as far as helping me get to the, you know, talking to the attorney's general office because
Hmm.
things need to change.
It have
I
to.
mean,
We got to
it's not
change it.
me.
Hmm.
It's a lot of other mothers that are going through the same thing
I know it.
that I'm going through,
I
and
know it.
they, I don't care what their child. I don't care. You should not never make a person feel some type of way. If their child was doing some things,
Hmm.
that ain't got nothing to do with somebody killing them.
That's right. Murder is murder, and that's why I
Your
tell
job
anyone.
is to prosecute and put this person away and
Hmm.
give that family some type of relief. Your job is not to uh, say things that don't need to be said to a mother
Right,
that's lost her
right.
child. That's still a
They have a
child.
tendency, unfortunately, to judge people in a court of public
Yeah,
opinion, as
yeah.
opposed to let
I'm
it going
a
through the
judge.
legal. So right, right, and
Yeah,
that causes an issue.
you telling me about something you don't know nothing about. You don't know
Right.
me.
You're
You
talking based on hearsay and pictures and
yeah,
everything, but you don't know
and
the personal.
you made it seem like you was more concerned about the young man that killed my son than you was concerned about my child and what happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I felt like it was just an outlet
Mm-hmm.
to push it up under the rug and move on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing's going to change my mind about that.
Right. Well, I mean, the rate, unfortunately, of homicide and murder is gonna increase so much. Innocent people, babies, everybody. Just it's
It's
horrible
awful.
for us to see this
Yeah.
because you work hard to see that this doesn't happen, and now
And it happened.
it's happening, and it's the
And
most
you know what? We live in small towns,
right.
and a lot of people live in small towns to avoid the city life
That's
and
right.
what goes on up in this. They come down
Right.
trying to get an outlet from trying to get a close gap on their children
Right.
from
Right.
working in that city, and they running wild.
Right. That's right.
So
That's
you
right.
find a lot of parents try to do that, and Sumter has the crime rate is really high now, and
Mm-hmm.
it's what are we paying these people to do?
Mm.
what are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
It looks like you have to find your own answers to these solutions
Mm-hmm.
because nobody's, look like they care. And not off, this is off the subject, but you look at the little girl, Nevaeh,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they didn't even want to address them at the police department. They wouldn't even let them in on the press conference.
Really?
Yeah, why can't they be in there?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's where they need to be. And let me address this as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was told by somebody that in the paper when this happened to Kai that they had his name in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And when you holding these titles, you need to be very careful as to how you talk about things.
Mm-hmm.
The coroner placed in the paper that my son, they got this new machine that they could identify them with touching their finger or something.
Mm-hmm.
He put in the paper that my son changed his name and the family didn't know anything about it. What does that have to do with my son being killed?
Right.
What I got to do with anything?
Right.
Your job is to talk about your machine. That don't have anything to do with what happened to my son. That means you got too much time on your hand to not worry about what's important. You worrying about something that you don't even know nothing about. Do you know us? You don't know us. Did you come out here? You the coroner. The deputy came out here, but did you come out here and give your condolences? I didn't see you. So what do you you got too much time on your hand because you worrying about the wrong things when you sitting around discussing putting some stuff like that in the paper. Really, you should be sued about because that don't have anything to do with what happened to my son.
Right.
That's none
right.
of your
They stayed off. They got off of the subject.
He's 20 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He's 20. If he wanted to change his name, what about it?
Right.
What that got to do with my son's life?
Right. Right.
That's what you should have been concerned about.
And that is a lot of pain that you have to deal with. Your family has to deal with. That'll probably never get the answers that you need.
No. And I just certain things got to go to God, and just like I said, I know that one day when you do things wrong, that's how I was raised. It will come back. And when my grandmother was living there, and my grandmother, you could have stick a pin on what she said. She said I cried in her lap, and she died last year. And I'm telling you, I'm still hurt behind her because she was strong. She said, Kim, don't worry about it. Whatever happened, he's gonna get what happened. He's gonna get what's coming to him. She said, don't worry about it. She said, God gonna take care of that. That was from my 85-year-old grandmama at the time. And when we viewed the body that day, when they got him back, and they had Frank Williams III had already did his body because I hadn't seen him since they took him to do the autopsy, and I asked could I come and see it. And I went to see the body and see him and stuff. And like I said, he looked like he was awake. When I got back to my grandma's house, I just totally flipped out. I just felt like I lost my mind. And, I was like, I got to the point in there, I was trying to nudge him like, wake up, Kai, wake up. Just he felt like he was asleep. Wake up, Kai. So, like I said, people don't know what other people go through, and people make comments about people. They still grieving. When you have a child, and something happens to your child,
you're always grieving. Grieve. That's right.
You always. That's right. There are always times that you think about that. Hey, his birthday. On my time, is something coming up? Yeah, he graduated this time here. Oh, this happened. Things coming up from the past that he's done, and of course, that makes you feel some type of way. That was my child.
Well, I'm hoping that I'm praying that we will be able to work together more.
Oh yeah, definitely. We got a lot of stuff to do.
A lot.
You're doing, and we can get it going in something like going to the courthouse and bringing out some mothers and getting them together.
Right.
And because we got a lot of groups that people are doing it. I was asked to join some groups. No, where were y'all when I needed y'all?
Right. Nobody you should have been there with me. Right. Supporting me. Right.
Nobody came out and said, look, we're going to stand and do this and that. I didn't get any of that.
Right.
So what am I going to join a group for?
Right. Right.
stand on
Understood.
my own.
Right.
But you know, you didn't stand behind me and held me and say, "Well, we're gonna do this," when I was going through what I was going through. So
Right.
I'm not,
Right.
you know, that doesn't define me and what my mission is. I have a mission,
Right.
and my mission is to help somebody else and set a platform where maybe this won't happen to some, others.
Right.
And,
I mean,
and like you said again, these law enforcement people, their feet need to be held to the fire. Because
you,
then, I just don't feel like there's no justice here in Sumter County.
mm-hmm,
It's all who you are.
mm-hmm,
And if you're not the right person, you're not going to get the right justice.
mm,
So
mm,
nobody probably even remembers my son's name. He's probably in a file someplace. This, that, and the other. And,
mm-hmm,
like, after the case was closed, I contacted the police department because I wanted his things like his cell phone and his wallet and stuff.
mm-hmm,
And they tried to get me to run around. Then I said, look, this case is closed. I want my son's things.
mm-hmm,
That's all I have left of him.
mm-hmm.
His wallet with it, and the things he had in his wallet. He had $1 bill that's still sitting in his wallet. He had my uncle was a minister. He had his cards in there.
Mm-hmm.
He had gotten his permit. He was working on his best friend with Troy Brayboy was helping him taught him how to drive so he
Wow.
could get his driver's license and stuff, and he was trying to do that, and the property manager at the apartment complex, she talked so highly of him. She said he was a good tenant. He paid his bills on time, and that made me feel so good. A 20-year-old paying his bills,
being responsible, right,
being responsible,
right, right,
and holding his things down. And she said, he didn't. She said he was my good tenant. He didn't bother nobody. And I said, no, he don't bother nobody. Don't bother him, and you won't have no problem with him.
Right.
He didn't bother. And my cousin was so hurt because she just had seen him at the mailbox the day before. He was at the mailbox getting his mail, and he was speaking to her. And he had just seen him at the mailbox, and that just go to show you things just happen so fast,
just like that. Right.
And his last picture he had taken, he had just got his hair cut and stuff like that, and that, stuff like that stuff. And I don't know why, and it just, what really gets me, I'm a time tracker. Just this date he did this song.
Right.
I just, this happened on this day. I just feel like I'm a time tracker.
Right. You can stamp every moment. Right.
Yeah. Right. Every moment. This day he did. This was the last thing that he did, and and I had to clean out his apartment, me and my daughter, and that packing up my. I'm gonna tell you something. And it was so ironic. My grandmother, he took his clothes over there for my grandmama to wash them, and I smelled the clothes when I came in because everybody knows her. She only uses Tide detergent and Downy. So they were folded so nice that she had them folded so nice, and he had them leveled up in his closet and stuff.
Neat.
Real neat. And you just seen the last thing he had his little stuff where he cooked and stuff, and that then I'm receiving mail, and he was going to the dentist office, and they sent me a card. I'm so sorry for your loss, and I had to, it sometimes it's hard to close a person out. You got to close the person out. I had to, contact things and close them out. And I still had one more bank I need to, and this was the account I started for him when he was little. I gotta close it out. And because, I don't want nobody getting his information and stuff. So I gotta go close that account out for him. And, it's just closing, you just gotta close things out. And I made a notebook with, when all this started, I suggest to anybody, and I was telling a lot of people, you gotta make a timeline. And in this notebook, I had on the front his obituary, and inside I had everything, that the police reports. I had all the hospital reports, everything. I had them send me everything. I had his power of attorney. I had his birth certificate. I had his death certificate. I had accomplishments of things he did at school, in college and stuff like that. And I had a notebook to take notes any place I went to. If I had to meet with somebody, I have to take notes because I have to date some stuff that I talk to people. And that's very important because you don't want it to be your word against their word.
Right.
So
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. That's right.
sometimes you forget things, and then I have to write stuff down because I wanted to address. I didn't want to forget anything. Any
Right.
questions that I need to ask, I didn't want to forget anything, so I made sure
Mm-hmm.
I wrote it down. And I carried that book all throughout what I was going through.
Mm-hmm.
Every check-in that young man had, I was there.
Mm-hmm.
Last check-in that he had, some man came up to him and said, "You ain't got to worry about it. You're gonna get off." You don't know what. Be careful as to how you make your statement because there's three sides. His side, what happened to my son, and the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to get all the evidence together.
That's right.
Because if you're regretful about what you did to somebody, why would you open up that same house the next week and trying to invite people in to play my son's game that you stole in his TV? Like I said again, I don't care about those material things but they belong to my son, so that means some kind of value, sentimental value to me because he bought them.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't. He bought them. They belong to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down to the police department and filled out a paper, and it was like had me fill out this paper about to pay some money. Then we can't. They called me back. We can't do anything about this. He's 20. I said, what you mean y'all can't do anything? It was a crime. So y'all shouldn't. Everything that belonged to him should have been taken into evidence.
Right.
Y'all, at the police department, but they didn't do anything. Oh, we tried to tell them. They said they was going to drop it off here. No, nobody was concerned about it. They didn't care. The gentleman that it happened at his house and the rifle belonged to him, he did give me my son's coat that I bought him and his laptop, and I think it was a few other things that he had. But the other one that did the killing, like I said, he had I don't know what because it was told to me by my son's best friend. He had a game system and he had over $1,000 worth of games. But see, you keep it because obviously you needed it better. Not only did you lie, you steal, and that means you will kill. So if it makes you feel good, you keep it because you might not have been served with justice from the court, but you will serve a higher master will. You're gonna have to answer to one day for everything you've done.
And that keeps you going. That fact that you know that.
Well, honestly, I don't even think about him anymore. I really don't. Okay. I don't even think about him, and I thank God for that.
Right, that's a blessing.
That means you know what? That means I'm moving to a different level. I don't really even think about him, and I thank God for that. What I try to focus on is, like I said, getting things together where I could help somebody else and getting important people to look at situations that are going on and try to help people. Because a lot of people don't know and don't understand. They just feel like when somebody get killed, this person is going to automatically be sentenced. But it's not like that.
That's not the system. Right.
Whole different system.
Right.
You don't know it until you go through it.
Right. That's right. And you can help prepare people for that.
Yeah.
Prepare them to be better capable of.
They need to get themselves educated on what's going on and not getting the runaround and see. You see people that don't even go up there. They're like, I've seen where the bond here and everybody on TV packed up in the court. No, what you need to be doing is working on what's going to go on in the court, finding out what you're going to do with
the process. Right. That's right.
Not power from there. You're not needed there. Somebody needs to be a spokesman for the family and go with the person that the mother or the sister or the victim and go up there and see what's going to happen.
Right. A strong person, not a yes person, because you need someone
you need a strong person. You need answers because like, when it was time for court, one of the gentlemen that he was like, well, you can't cuss. And I said, well, let me stop you right now. You're talking to me like I don't have common sense. I said, I have a lot of things in my head I would like to say, but I know I can't say them. I know how to do it for a crowd and what to say and what not to say.
Right.
So you don't have to address me in that way.
Assuming that you're just ignorant, you don't know any better. He's assuming that.
Assuming I was just ignorant and I was going to get up there.
Just yell and cuss and
just
act a fool. Yeah.
Act a fool. So, I normally expect y'all to think some of us going to do that, but no, I know I was not going to do that because I know how to dress myself and I know how to address people.
Right.
So,
Well, that
that was what was that going to do?
right, right. I think that there's a place where in every avenue of life in the police department and everything, there are people you can work with to make things happen. I believe that. I believe there are decent people in every part. All of that, all of those dots have to be connected in order to guarantee that we have a system set up that will at least 85 to 90% of the time will work. Because I cannot
Sometimes you gotta
imagine.
come in a clean house.
Right.
Sometimes
Start over.
you gotta come.
Yeah.
You need people need to you need to, if you they need to look at the statistics of what's going on, what's being done.
Right.
If nothing's being done,
Right.
hey, you need to get these. They need to get a hold.
Yes.
People need to come
The numbers
together
of the people
and hold each other
prosecuted.
accountable,
Yeah.
not doing their job.
That's right. They have to be,
Yeah,
because I don't see how in the legal system you don't hold that accountable, but in everything else you want to hold everyone accountable. No, everyone has to be accountable in every part of the system, from the judge to the
exactly.
police to the coroner. Everybody that has a part to play has to be held accountable, in my opinion. And that's
Yeah,
our job. It's such a tedious job, but
right.
we have to do it. We have to
That's
do
right.
it, and we have to find younger people who want to help and keep moving with it, because lip service is not going to get anything done.
Well, when they're sworn in, they hold their hand on the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
and they say they're going to uphold the law,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to do this and do that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it's a difference
You
in a person, but it's a difference in a person outside of it who's never experienced it, like you, who believe that the system works, and then you knowing that you went through it and feeling and knowing
Mhm.
what parts of it doesn't work.
Doesn't
So,
work.
but when you're telling them this doesn't work, they still don't want to believe it.
You're right. They
That's the
don't want to
problem.
believe it. So
Right.
they get because there's some case. It's a case now. I know that a young man got killed right after my son
Mm-hmm.
on his birthday. As a
Wow.
matter of fact, got killed
Wow.
on Kai's birthday. Trial. This trial should have been took place.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
See, you don't go up there and see what's going. Like I said again, don't think these people working to help you. If
Right.
you're not interested in what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
nothing's going to happen. It's just going to sit. It's
Mm-hmm.
going to sit and it's going to sit, and this person is going to accrue time, and then the next thing you know, they're going to go to court.
Time served. Right.
Might do a little bit more, but then
Mm-hmm.
time served.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know
Well,
that's not good.
I wanna thank you for coming on again. Like I said, this is part one, because I want to keep on going with this as we did with your son when he was younger in ADHD. We had probably about 4 different parts we did to that, which was
Yes,
very
it
good. A
did.
lot of people learned a lot from it, because a
Yeah,
lot of people hide their problems
yeah,
and
they
think they're
hide it.
suffering on their own, but no, other people are out there
Oh,
going through the exact same thing you're going through. You know,
it's just it's so many people going through this now that I don't understand why are you ashamed when you got to help your child.
you
Get some
gotta,
help.
you gotta help them.
It's a lot of, if you don't get out there and get active, you never know what's out there.
That's right.
So I have to educate myself so I can help my child. There's what you don't have time to be shamed. Shame
Right.
of what?
Right.
The
Right.
world is so different now. The
Mm-hmm.
kids are so different now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you look at kids now. Kids don't want to go outside and play.
Right.
They want to
Right.
sit and watch TV and
Mm-hmm.
video games
Mm-hmm.
and telephones and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, and we played outside.
Mm-hmm.
And you got kids that hey, they on a different level. You got a lot of
Yeah,
kids
but
that don't have
we're gonna have to reach them somehow. I don't know exactly how, but we got to get a crossroad where they understand us better, we understand them better, because we're clashing with racism, we're clashing with sexism, we're clashing with our children. You can't get anything done clashing with everybody. You're not gonna get anything done like that. So I'm praying that we are able to do more, and I want to thank you for coming on, and I'm gonna talk to you again so that we can come on again and see if we
definitely.
cannot set something up where we can get people to start sharing their Facebook accounts, their email accounts, where we can begin to start talking to each other, even if it's in private groups,
Yeah,
and
we
and
got a
and
lot
uh,
of work to do.
right, and allowing people to express how they feel. Because if you're angry, you're angry. You don't have to
Yeah,
act like you're not angry because people says
that's
that's
right.
you understand. You got to let that
Yeah,
out. Yeah,
I had to, I said, and I was blunt and straight to the point. I just, I had to say how I felt,
that's
and
right.
that's just how I felt at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, people. trying to tell me how to feel, trying to tell me how to think. You're not going to tell me how to
No.
think. I have my own.
That's right. That's right. And you don't have a clue what I'm going through. Even if you have experienced what I've experienced, this is me. I'm different. So I'm taking it different, right, than you took it. I'm not taking it the same. So people need to be able, in my opinion, to grieve, to say what they need to say, and not be told, not be made to feel guilty for feeling what they feel.
I have not felt guilty about anything I said.
Great.
I stand on everything I said.
Great. That's
and
great.
I'm not taking it back because it needed to be said.
Right.
And like I said, it's a lot of work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And I won't have it any other way. I like working. Me and you work
right
together.
We do. Right.
It's a lot of things that I think we could do together to try to get people more involved and out doing something, because things got to change.
They have to change, and we got to change it. So I'm as always, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm gonna be contacting you again because I want to come back on with you again. And I thank you so much for your patience. Took us about an hour to get it right, but we did it. Thank you for your patience. That's right. And is there anything you want to say in closing before we close out?
Well, again, like I said, I really thank you for working with me and giving me this opportunity to have a little platform, because I didn't feel like I have a platform. I contacted Street something that WLTX has, and I was asking her, I said, well, can you speak with some of me and some other mothers that lost our son? She's like, no, you have to, our stories weren't important.
Right.
So she didn't have time to, talk about that or anything. So, I need a platform. And like I said, these things need to be said. People need help. And things got to change. And like I said, it's on my heart, and God won't let me rest on that end, that I got to do something to help somebody else.
That's right.
And, I'm the poster mom. That's how I feel. I'm the poster mom now. So I got to try to help somebody else in this type of situation. And we need, like I said, we need more victims advocates that, you need somebody then, you need somebody after.
To check on you, all of that. Yeah. Right.
They can do anything to help you or help get you some more help or something like that. Nobody did that. I was and like I said, if I didn't have the knowledge to do something myself, I would be lost. So,
because people are dying from broken hearts, from all type of illnesses, hurt.
I just had a heart attack.
You told me.
My heart attack was stress.
Yes.
Dealing with that, because it's a lot on my heart.
And I believe it.
I thank God, everything turned out okay. My heart cath turned out. I woke up that morning with pain in my chest, and I thank God for, he got more stuff for me to do.
That's right.
So, somebody else came in the hospital with the same situation, and they're same age as me, same thing that happened to me.
Wow.
But they ended up having to go to Richland. So, I thank God, that I was able to come through and, get back to work and bounce back. So,
well, I thank you for your time again, and as I said, we'll be talking again. And take care of yourself.
I am.
And I'm gonna try to do the same, because we're getting older. And if you have any concern in your heart, right? That's right. Okay. Well, thank you again, and I'm gonna try to post this chat room back up with the video and everything as well. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll be getting in touch with you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Okay.